Hi everybody, I'm Anne-Marie from the Soul Awakening Academy, and I'm doing a video for you today to talk about the pros and cons of inner child healing. One of the biggest and most transformational aspects of my work and of my own personal journey on my healing was working with the inner child, but I did have an experience where it went horribly wrong for me. And if you are a coach, a therapist, or a healer, and you're working with clients and taking them on an inner child healing journey, there are some important factors that you might want to consider before you take your client down that path. So, let me tell you about my experience. So, hopefully, you can learn from this, and this is what not to do. So, I was experiencing relationship issues. Uh, you know, 20 odd years ago, I'm going back a long time, I was experiencing relationship issues, and I couldn't really verbalize, my issues and challenges. I didn't have the repertoire or the knowledge back then that I do now. But what was happening for me, I was experiencing major self-worth issues. I had somebody who declared his love to me and I couldn't receive it. I just didn't think I was like worthy of to be loved, and that I would wreck the whole thing. And when he told me that he loved me, my whole nervous system went into like fight or flight, and I was just this disorganized, chaotic mess. But I really loved him. So I wanted to have this experience with him, but I knew there were some major blocks coming from me. So I went to work with a therapist, and she decided to do some inner healing on me, inner child healing on me. And she took me on a journey of visualization and took me to a scene and helped me embrace the inner child. And it was so upsetting and distressing for me. And these are the reasons why. First of all, I had massive issues around vulnerability. For me to cry in front of a stranger was horrendously uncomfortable and triggering for me. I also didn't know what to expect. This was my first time doing visualization, and I was not aware of what might happen. I didn't realize that her taking me on this probably beautiful path was going to really touch a part of me that had been locked away. I didn't know there was such a thing as an inner child. I didn't know that there are parts of us that have been frozen in time through to traumatic experiences that are really kind of calling out to us to be healed. And I didn't know how to handle it afterwards. So there I am having this breakdown, crying experience in front of this woman, um, who was probably beautifully holding space for me in the moment. But what she was doing was beyond comfortable for me at that time. So we didn't have the rapport. She wasn't a long-standing therapist. She was just somebody like I'd gone to for therapy, and probably like asked me questions about my past and realized that that might be, something we needed to go somewhere we needed to go in therapy. But I didn't have that trust in her. And one of my biggest issues and reason for being there was that I didn't trust people. Like, she didn't, back then, what we know now was not really available. So she didn't know, she wasn't trauma informed, basically. She wasn't trauma aware. So she took me down a rabbit hole, which was not very helpful for me, because it didn't lead anywhere. There wasn't really a healing that happened. It was a moment where I realized that I had a really painful and upset inner child, and that was such a distressing time for me, and to be crying in front of a stranger was just so triggering for me that she reactivated trauma in me. And not only that, stuff happened after that session where she as a therapist became quite intrusive and overstepped professional boundaries. So these are things that you need to consider if you're going to work with your client with inner child healing. How much rapport have you built up with that client? Have you fully explained what inner child healing is? Do you have full consent to take your client into an inner child healing session? Who and what is in your client's outside circle that they can turn to for support should they need it? What will happen if your client has a reaction or is reactivated into trauma? Who do you, as a therapist or coach, have in your circle that you can refer to should they need additional support? And you know, what will be the outcome? Why are you taking them there? Do you know enough about their past history to be trauma informed in that moment with them, to know exactly what to look out for, their body cues? Are they having somatic experiences? Are they having ab reactions? What level is their nervous system? Is it hyper aroused, hypo aroused? What is their window of tolerance? You know, do you understand all of this about your client before you're going to take them into this massive journey that is going to really activate something in them? What is the purpose of it? And have you got this scope of experience to gently guide your client into this? So be aware that if trauma clients come to you, then they have their triggers, and you need to know as much as you can what they are. For me, a huge trigger, a huge trigger was vulnerability. Okay, putting me in a position of powerlessness and opening me up to vulnerability with really without my consent was not okay. And then after the therapy, intruding again, putting me into a flight or fight situation only solidified my lack of trust in other people. So having awareness when you're working with clients about their map of the world, their experiences, you know, what triggers they have. Do that groundwork first before you even consider taking a client into the inner child. And like I said, I didn't even know that we had these parts of us that we could connect with. It's such a profound, beautiful experience done in the right way and in the right setting. So I hope this helps. Take care for now, guys.